What's good, Joshua Ross back at it again with another video. Well, apparently Goldberg is sending more shots at Asuka. Now, you're probably wondering, why would Goldberg be doing that? He's already retired. He's already, said his statements about Asuka a while ago. I think it was like a few years ago. So why would he bring her up essentially again? What is his real issue that he has with Asuka and her undefeated streak that he has such a problem with that was recently brought up? Well, we're going to actually talk about this. I did get a chance to actually see what he had said. I believe he was on someone's podcast called The Real Talk with Mike Burke. He was on his podcast and they were talking about life after WWE and stuff like that. And I wanted to check out exactly what he said because there was a quote that was circulating on Twitter essentially talking about, Goldberg's basically his feelings toward Asuka and her undefeated streak beating his undefeated streak. So let me pull up the tweet so y'all can see what he actually said. So Goldberg on this podcast with Mike Burke said, Goldberg states that WWE had some girl, and this is exactly what he said because I actually watched the clip, some girl surpassed his undefeated streak on purpose. Some girl at WWE, they did it on purpose. I have nothing against the girl by any means, but yeah, I was part of WCW when we were kicking their ass in the Monday Night Wars. I didn't know what was going on at the time. I was just on one of the sides. Now one side dissolves and the other one consumes everything. So they can treat anyone and everything the way they want. I think is always going to be the bird in their ass that I was part of the company where I was the champion in a very short period of time and we were beating them in the ratings. Now, does he have some truth to that last part? And I want to pay attention to that. For sure. Even when he was in WWE, Vince was in charge. And they understood who he was and his popularity in the grand scheme of things. Of just professional wrestling. They knew how important Goldberg was to the fans, but at the same time, once the bell started ringing, they also understood why his matches were only a couple minutes at best, because he's not really good at wrestling for the most part. He's a guy that has short power moves in and out. He's not going to give you a 15-minute classic because that's just never been his thing. They utilized him to his strengths, so we get that. And when WWE brought him over, they tried to experiment to give him some type of extension on his matches and see what he can do. Ultimately, it wasn't that good. Did I enjoy his World Heavyweight Championship reign when he was moved over to Monday Night Raw? I enjoyed it for as much as I could have because it was very short because it went right back to Triple H. So at that point, seeing Goldberg beat Triple H was, it was a great thing to see. I do think they kind of mismanaged his booking in that first go around with WWE, but at the same time, I also, when you start to, grow up and you start to look at things, you can understand why they weren't trying to have him as his long-term champion. So in that period, I can understand why he would feel some type of way that he feels like WWE, they're still going to try to stick it to me because I was part of WCW. I was a part of the brand that was kicking their asses. So they're going to always kind of stick it to me because that's Vince. Vince was in control. Everybody around Vince, had some of the same thoughts when it came to WCW and WWE at the time. So I can understand him having that point. But then when he was gone, and he was gone for a very long time. And then you have someone like Asuka, who was brought up through NXT. Asuka was already a name, not in the American markets for the most part, but people who knew who she was. You know, she was a commodity overseas, and they brought her to WWE, brought her through the NXT system, and they treated her like she was a very important individual. They treated her like she was going to be the future of the women's division, and ultimately she ended up being, when it came to the, you know, the rising stars through NXT, she was part of that women's revolution in a sense. And, you know, Asuka had this presence around her, like she could legitimately hurt you, and it worked. So of course they're building up this streak. I don't think it was necessarily just to, oh well, they just did it to piss off Goldberg. I don't even think they were thinking about Goldberg when they initially started doing the streak. I don't even think that was the case. And once again, we're arguing about a streak that's not legit, like not real. Like these are all pre-planned. So we're arguing about a streak that's just been booked that way. That's what we're that's where the, oh, they did it to piss me off, or to purposely, you know, try to discredit me in a sense. That's the kind of energy that Goldberg's giving. Is like, I don't even think they were worried about you around that time. I don't think they actually was like, you know what would piss off Goldberg is if we had this person named Asuka go out here and pretty much have the longest reigning streak in WWE history, like longest reigning like winning streak or something like that. That would be crazy if we did that, and it would really piss off Goldberg. Come on now, bro. I don't think that was the case. And once again, around that time, she was under the Triple H's, you know, creative control. They extended it a little bit when they went to the main roster, and then ultimately she was fed to Charlotte Flair. Y'all know how that went. But for the most part, she was under Triple H's control, and I just don't see Triple H really, like, you know, we got to stick it to Bill. Even he wasn't involved in the company. He wasn't doing anything related with the company around that time. So I'm really confused on just the idea that, oh well, you know, they just did it to piss me off. I don't think that was the case. I truly don't believe that. I don't know why Bill feels this way, and maybe he really doesn't know her name, or maybe he does, but the whole conversation, you know, going into because I think the guy initially asked, you know, when he was talking about the undefeated, you know, his win streak, I don't think the guy that was interviewing, he didn't know about Asuka. So he's like, man, that streak will never be broken. And that's how they got into the conversation of, well, it actually have by some girl. And it's like, come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the way you're saying it. It comes off like very dejected. Like, it's some random chick they decided to have the longest winning streak just to piss me off, or just to be petty. Like, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that deep. I don't think he should be thinking it's that deep, because at the end of the day, that was years ago, you know, and, you know, he has a legendary career, regardless of whether people feel like he can wrestle or not. He's still Bill fucking Goldberg. So I don't know why he taking shots at her again after he's already retired and made his money and stuff like that. I just never understood that. Even when he did it the first time, I never understood that. Like, at the end of the day, records are meant to be broken. Maybe one day we'll see somebody beat Roman Reigns' title reign of 1,300 plus days. I severely doubt that Roman Reigns will come out on an interview and be like, oh, they just did it to be petty. They just did it to upset me, to piss me off. No. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Whether they, you know, had issues or not, it don't matter, bro. Records are meant to be broken. That's how you build new stars. Who cares? So, comment down below. Let me know. Do you guys think Goldberg here is tripping over this whole Asuka breaking his win streak situation? Or do you feel like he has a justifiable reason? We all know WWE has been petty to those who left from WCW and went over to WWE initially. But do y'all think that was the case back when Asuka was on the rise? Me personally, I don't. But I appreciate all love, support. Road to 200K. Appreciate y'all kicking it with me. See y'all next one. Peace.